Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a review on the brand new Huda Beauty Precious Stones Obsessions eyeshadow palette. So she released 5, I bought 4 altogether. The only one I didn't get was the sapphire one, purely because I just don't see myself using blue that much, but I may be persuaded later on if there's a deal on or something to maybe purchase that one too, because I love them. Now, this is not the first time she has released Obsessions palettes, and that's just the name of her range of very small eyeshadow palettes, which altogether have 9 eyeshadows inside it. I have pretty much, I'd say, got all of the rest of them. If you do a little search, you can see my review on when she released the first 4 or 5, followed by a few months ago, I think it was the Corals Obsessions one, and then the Gemstones ones. So these ones are called Precious Stones because obviously the name is Ruby Obsessions, Emerald Obsessions, Amethyst Obsessions, and then Topaz Obsessions, and then each one has the corresponding jewel toned colors on the front. And then you can see a picture of a gemstone along with, from what I can see, they have very smartly used the shades which are inside to create the image on the front. Altogether there are 9 kind of shapes that create the gemstone, and those 9 shades are the shades which are inside. So I think that's very cool. I actually quite like Huda Beauty's packaging. I think it's quite creative, quite innovative, and slightly different. So altogether these retail for £25 each, which is, yes, pricey. Huda Beauty's products are generally on the higher end of the price scale, which is also reflected in where she is stocked in the UK in particular. In the UK you can buy her products from Cult Beauty online, which is where I got them from, as well as Selfridges and Harrods. Selfridges and Harrods are very upmarket department stores in the UK. They're not on every corner. There's only one Harrods, isn't there? The one in Knightsbridge, and then there's 1 or 2 Selfridges in the UK, Birmingham and London, and then obviously you can buy them online too. So £25 is pricey. Is it worth £25? Because that's why you guys are obviously here. Personally, I would say yes. I have given these a 10 out of 10 in the past, and I stick to my 10 out of 10. If anything, I find that the quality of these is really, really good. I've seen online sometimes when I have read reviews and things, or just a general day-to-day person discussing Huda Beauty's eyeshadows, and they're like, they're chalky, they're not that pigmented. Either these people just don't know how to use eyeshadows, or what they assume an eyeshadow to be is just not what it actually is. Because I actually have no issues with any of her eyeshadows. Any of the Obsessions palettes, I have found them to be excellent quality. The mattes are buttery soft, but they kick up a little bit of dust, but not loads, for example, like the Anastasia Beverly Hills ones. They're in that kind of same range as Makeup Geek, I would say, in that their mattes are very, very pigmented. They're very easy to blend. They kick up a little bit of dust, but not loads. So then you're not going to be wasteful when it comes to applying this to your eyes. Now, each one of them has got mattes in them, as well as foiled shadows and shimmery ones too. Now, from looking online and seeing what the description of these are, I have to kind of give my own 2 cents, as I always do. Now, for example, this one here, the Amethyst ones, it says that it contains a spectrum of 9 pigment-packed powders, 6 vibrant duochrome shimmers, and 3 creamy mattes, in shades ranging from moody mauve to violet to barely there pink. Now, I'm not sure why the foiled ones in particular are called duochrome. To me, duochrome means that it will look different depending on how the light hits it. I don't find that that is the case with some of them. Some of them yes, some of them no. For example, this one here, through the middle, those 3 are very obviously standing out a lot more than, for example, these 2 on the side and this one over here. These 2 and that one here have almost got they've got like a satiny sheen to it, like a metallic sheen, but they are not as intense as the ones in the middle. And that I have found is the same with all of them. So I'm not sure why they have not differentiated the foiled duochrome ones to the normal kind of more muted satiny kind. For example, again here, this shade, and this shade stand out a lot more than that one, and that isn't because of the fact that the color is a little bit darker. You can definitely see that even the way that it's pressed in these shades are a lot more thicker in texture, and therefore they will apply a lot more thickly, and a lot more will kind of come off on the brush in chunks, whereas this one will apply a lot more creamy and a lot less chunky, if that makes sense. Because when chunks come off, that's when you have mess that happens. And when things do come off very chunky, that also means that they're very, very, very buttery. So you have to go in with a very light hand. And I also find that these ones, which I'm going to call the foiled ones, are best applied with the finger. That's what I've done. This makeup look, I have used all 4 of these eyeshadow palettes today, and I used my finger to put on the lid shade. Then I just used a normal flat brush just to tidy around the edges. But you definitely get more of a pigment punch when you use your finger rather than a brush, which can shear it out slightly. I personally find that these apply beautifully. I'm very, very happy with all of these. I'm just not happy with the way that they're described online. But that's the reason why I've obviously done this video. That is not to say that these aren't excellent despite the description online anyway. I think they're all really amazing. I really like the variety of shades that you've got. There is something for everybody, basically. For those of you out there that don't like your bright colors and that sort of thing, because this entire range is very, very bright. There's nothing muted and soft about it. If you want muted and soft, you wouldn't really go with something that's called Precious Stones. You can use some of her other Obsessions palettes, which have got more softer shades. Probably the one that most people gravitate towards is the Topaz one, because these are everybody's kind of typical go-to sort of shades. You know, your caramels, your warm browns, your golds. Those are the shades that tend to be more flattering on a lot of people, and these are also the kind of shades that are great to wear for kind of day-to-day use, kind of going to school, college, work, that sort of thing. Whereas obviously something like this palette here, which is the Emerald Obsessions ones, despite the fact that you may like these colors, these may not be daytime appropriate for a lot of people. Before I show you swatches, because the thing is with the Huda Beauty ones, these Obsessions ones, they don't have names for each individual shade. So I'm going to swatch all of them on my hand and then let you know what my thoughts are. But if I really have to say which one is my favorite out of all of these, because let's say you can only choose one, I'd probably say the Amethyst one. You guys know that I generally tend to go for a lot of kind of pinky purple sort of shades. So I really love this one, followed by this one here, the Ruby Obsessions one. I love this palette. I love the colors. Some of them are very, very unique and not typical that you find in a lot of eyeshadow palettes, because a lot of people tend to kind of shy away from bright red shades, and these ones are very, very bright and very intense, but I think that they're absolutely gorgeous. And I love the fact that this one here hasn't just got reds in it anyway. It's got a few golds mixed with reds in there, so it's very versatile. Anyway, so also just in regards to the packaging, it's the standard classic kind of cardboard, lightweight, easy to travel, and then it's got a decent size mirror in the front as well, so you can just kind of check your eyes like that instead of having to use another mirror or whatever. So this is what it looks like up close. And these are all the shades on the inside. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to swatch them from right to left, and then I will show them to you up close. Right here you can see all 9 of my very badly swatched swatches. So as I said, I've gone from right to left, right to left, right to left. Now can you see these 3 in the middle, how different they look to this one, and this one? Now explain to me how they can all be described as duochrome. They're not at all. These 3 shades in the middle, the sparkly ones, are definitely more foiled, and they are definitely a bit more duochrome. The one right in the middle will work great as a topper. Not so great on its own unless you layer it loads, because it is fairly sheer, and it reminds me of one in her last large eyeshadow palette as well. These ones here are very shimmery, kind of metallic, but those ones are not duochrome. The matte shades, this one, and this one, are quite decent. I would say that this one is probably the more difficult one to blend. I find that that is just because that's what generally tends to happen with a lot of deep eggplant sort of shades. But overall, I'm really happy with the makeup of this palette, and I think it's really, really pretty. Okay, so the next one is the Topaz Obsessions ones, which is described as having 4 vibrant duochrome shimmers and 5 creamy mattes in rich rose gold, amber, burnished bronzes, and tangerine orange. Now I would say that there are 5 mattes, 3 duochromes foiled, and 1 metallic satin finish kind of one. So this is what it looks like up close. And these are what they all look like from the inside. Such a pretty palette. So here is the Topaz Obsessions ones. So as I said before, you can see that this shade here, this one and this one are the duochrome ones. Even though when I look at them, I don't see duochrome shift. I just see very high intensity metallic shine. And then the same with that one. There's no duochrome shift to it, but it is as intense as the others. The mattes are very beautiful. The one in the middle will not work on most skin tones. As you can see on mine, it shows up as a very, very pale peach. But you can use that as like an all over lid shade or to create a very, very soft look. The mattes are very, very pigmented, as you can see. These are all one swipe, by the way, as well, just so that you can understand how they apply to the skin. But overall, I think that this is a very beautiful palette. All of the shades perform excellently. Okay, so the next one is the Ruby Obsessions one, which I love. And this one is described as 9 pigment packed powders with duochrome and creamy matte textures in rich raspberry, black currant and copper shades for ultimate feminine lid looks. Okay, so they didn't actually specify this time how many duochromes, they just forgot. So I would personally say that there are 4 duochromes, these 4 in this section, 4 mattes, and then this one right in the corner, this very rich looking cherry red, is one of the more satiny metallic textures, so not as intense as the other 4. This is what it looks like up close, and this is what it looks like on the inside. So pretty. So here we have the Ruby Obsessions ones. So again, as you can see, these are the 4 I was talking about. Look how much more shiny and foiled they are. I would say that this one in the middle is my favorite. It would like a hint of pink to it. This one here is a very odd shade. It's like a dark brown with like lots and lots of gold shimmer in it. And then this one is definitely like a bright Christmas red with lots of particles of glitter in it. Now this one here, which is like a very, very pale pink color almost, that would not work well on most skin tones. I used this in the makeup that I'm wearing today, and I just applied it all over my eye just to smooth out my eyes and make them less sticky. But it's almost like a slightly pointless shade. The matte shades, this one does not perform that well. I'm not sure if you can see, it's got patchiness in it. That was one swipe that just did not come off as cleanly. But these 2 mattes perform really nicely. And then this bright, almost tangerine cherry red is a really nice kind of color to use along with the other colors. I think that they can be used as toppers on top of this, but overall it's a really pretty color, a really pretty kind of palette. Okay, and last but not least is the Emerald Obsessions palette, which is described as having 6 vibrant duochrome shimmers and 3 creamy mattes in shades ranging from mint or golden olive to timeless emerald and show-stopping peacock green. So as I've shown you guys, this is what it looks like. I would personally say that there are 3 mattes in here, correct? The duochrome metallic foiled ones is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then these 2 here are not as foiled as the other one, so I'm just saying. So this is what it looks like up close, and this is what it looks like from the inside. Very unique and pretty. So here is the emerald one. So pretty. This shade here on the end is very, very, very glittery. This one would definitely work well as a topper or a tear duct shade. This peacock green in the middle is stunning. Like seriously, this one here is the one I'm actually wearing on my lid today. Look how intense. It's like a yellow greeny kind of gold. Then you've got this seafoam green shade here as well. The mattes are beautiful. This is a genuinely really, really pretty palette for those of you that love greens. Okay, so that is all the swatches of some of the new Precious Stones Obsessions palette by Huda Beauty. The one thing that I do have to say in terms of an extra piece of criticism is that not a single one of these eyeshadow palettes has a very light shade. And I'm not talking about like this like really pale peach one in the middle. I'm talking about like something to use on the brow bone, because I found that when I was doing this makeup tutorial, I was like, okay, so I want to put like an ivory shade or a pale white shade or a pale golden shade or something on my brow bone, and there's nothing. Every single one of these palettes, bar those two very unnecessarily pale shades, which is in this one, the Topaz one and the Ruby one, they're all very dark shades. Now, I know that Huda Beauty is obviously trying to make sure that she covers off all skin tones, and that's great, and I'm really glad that she is as inclusive as she is. However, like I said, there's not a single very pale shade. All the shimmery shades are quite dark shades. Now, I know the one on my lid is not dark, but it's too dark to wear on my brow bone, and it's too dark to wear as an inner corner highlight as well, maybe. So that's just a sly little criticism that I wanted to throw in there. Anyway, so that is my review of the new palettes from Huda Beauty. On my lips, just for reference, I'm wearing her liquid lipsticks, which is Girlfriend liquid lipstick with the Demi Matte lipstick in Shiro on top. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have you bought any? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Why do you hate them? Why? I think they're really good, actually. But yeah, so let me know what your thoughts are. Make sure you follow me, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.